Video games are a top source of entertainment not only for children but for adults as well. Recently, there has been a big debate on whether or not video games increase aggression in children. Despite the many studies that support that video games in fact do not create violent children, parents and government officials still tend to blame them. What adults don't realize is that video games are actually helpful and educational. Throughout this speech, I will explain to you the ways that video games can be good for children and even adults. Many parents believe that video games are bad for their children. Working at GameStop, I have a number of customers who refuse to allow their children to play anything dealing with magic, bad language, fighting, or violence of any type. There are many articles and sites that describe the pros and cons of video games. According to Buzzle.com, the common worries of parents is that video games will increase aggression and violence in their children, rot their brains or make them stupid, and cause obesity or other medical issues. While these may or may not be legitimate concerns, there are many ways to prevent them. Although parents have legitimate reasons for worrying about their children, there are many precautions that can be taken to prevent any possible problems. First of all, their ESRB ratings are there for a reason. Buzzle says that when buying games for kids, parents should check the age limit mentioned on the cover. Also, explain to your children that just because it's okay to do something in the game, it is not acceptable in real life. Only you know whether or not your child is mature enough. Another common worry is that gaming will rot the brains and cause them to ignore their studies. Although video games cannot rot anyone's brain, if you do not regulate the amount of time your child spends on games, their grades may suffer. This is an easy fix though. Just make sure all homework and studying has been finished before video games can be touched. Preventing obesity and other medical issues is an extremely easy fix. Just limit how long your child can play and make sure they stay active. Aside from the possible negative effects video games may have, there are many benefits associated with gaming. One skill that people, not just kids, can learn from video games is hand-eye coordination. This is a vital skill used in many things in the adult world. It takes serious hand-eye coordination to watch everything on the screen, while simultaneously pressing several buttons for certain commands in the game. Another beneficial factor of video games is the educational material incorporated into the game. Most games are based on historical time periods and real places. Games such as Assassin's Creed have pop-ups that give you a brief history of important events, people, art, and architecture. From personal experience, I found this information quite helpful in high school. Military games such as Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, Army of Two, and many others instill a sense of teamwork and problem solving by requiring you to take your time, work with a team, and figure out solutions to problematic situations in order to successfully complete the missions. The online component of these games also teach some social skills in using the ability to communicate with other players. With today's world being almost completely based off of technology, being efficient with technology gives the newer generations a head start. Most children start early on computers and game systems. Learning such skills at an early age gives them a better chance of landing a good job in the field of technology. Video games are not only beneficial to their players, but also to the economy. With video games being the primary source of entertainment today, video game sales are skyrocketing and stimulating the economy, much like football does. In conclusion, video games may have their pros and cons, but the pros overwhelm the cons. Maybe for those who grew up with limited technology may see this as a bad thing, but in a world that is run by technology, it is a great thing. I agree that we shouldn't sell minors or mature games to minors, but that is why we have ESRB ratings. If parents believe their child is mature enough to play, that is their decision. Video games provide a safe and cost-friendly source of entertainment that stimulates the mind at the same time.